in Troy, and Steve says, I lent money for my friend to purchase an investment property while I was out of the country. Upon my return, I learned that the home is in his name alone. He has not acknowledged my interest and he fails to return my calls. What do I do now? From Steve in Troy, Michigan. Bummer. Steve, what can you do? David.
Oh, me? Oh, you're asking me?
You have the floor.
Yeah, well, just real briefly again, was there a written instrument that talked, okay. So it sounds like there really wasn't. I mean, I'm just going to assume there wasn't because, it'd be probably a little bit more straightforward. So here's the thing. If let's say there's no purchase agreement between the two of them or no written joint venture agreement or some type of partnership agreement, there's other ways to get around the writing requirement or the requirement that we call the Statute of Frauds requirement, which is all real estate transactions need to be in writing if they exceed 1 year, meaning that they're transactions that take place either over a year or when you're dealing with the purchase of a property, okay? You should have everything in writing. So here's the first thing. This individual, I feel badly for them, their friends. You can use other correspondence, other writing to support what this gentleman, Steve, is saying about the nature of a transaction that he and his friend had. That's number one, okay? So they didn't give us a value. I always use 100,000 just to start. So friend gives his friend 100,000 to buy a property. They talk, they're excited, they're going to invest, but nobody reduces anything to writing. Okay. But they had something that they talked about. How do we know? Well, we can look at emails, we can look in correspondence. And even if we can't find that, I can look at what we call partial performance. I can see, hopefully, that Steve didn't give his friend just cash. I hope that I can see a transaction history where I can see a wire of $100,000 to a title company, or I can see Steve sending, $5,000 in an earnest money deposit for the home to his friend to secure the property. I mean, all these things, if I can see it, then we complete it. We have a good faith reason to bring a complaint if we have to, for breach of contract, for unjust enrichment, for promissory estoppel. These are all different legal theories that basically will go to help Steve get either 50% of the property or whatever it is that their agreement was, or just a lien on the property, okay? So the first thing I would do is, if we filed a lawsuit, we would file a lis pendens, which is a lien on the property that tells the world that there's a lawsuit going on, there's a dispute about that property. And before we even got there, if Steve felt in good faith that he could support just something in writing that said there was an agreement, there would be a claim of interest that could possibly be filed against the home, which is different than a lis pendens. Both are liens on the property. A lis pendens only takes place when you have litigation. Okay. I don't want to confuse that. What I really want to get to is that, Steve, don't fret. This happens a lot. It happens actually a lot between family members and friends. So welcome to the club. So if his friend's not going to acknowledge it, we have ways to make sure that if it's valid, we have ways that we can verify it and take care of business for Steve and get him, if not all his money back, maybe, whatever the percentage is that he felt he was entitled to. Okay. It's again, everything needs to be reduced in writing. And for those people viewing these videos, I mean, I say it over and over again. If they did like a little clip, and just cut up and what do they call that? Edited it. There'd be like 1,000 of them. Get it in writing, get it in writing, get it in writing. That's what we say. Right? And you want to trust. Unfortunately, it's very emotional. You want to trust your family and friends. It's very hard when it deals with real estate. It's most people's biggest asset, their biggest investment. And between family members, there's nothing worse. A divorce is almost as bad, but I think when you're cheated on by a family member, when it comes to money, all the issues, let's say when somebody dies and you think you're going to get a piece of property, all these things get very complicated and highly emotional. And so boundary disputes, things like that, boundary disputes, contracts between friends, nothing's put in writing. It's a complete mess, which we clean up quite often. You know, we're happy to clean it up, but it's not that easy. And so
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Well, Steve, I am so sorry because I'm sure your heart is a little bit broken, or at least stomped on a little bit. But that was good. So what you can do is you can gather any information that you can to prove whatever it is that transpired, and then give David or a real estate attorney like him a phone call. Okay.